Hello everyone, Ayumilove here, back again with another Awaken Kiosk LR video guide. So in today's video, I'll be showcasing you my latest team for the Queen of Tides stage 14, or also known as the Helmut stage 2. So let's head over there to see what team is that. Alright, so I'm now in the Queen of Tides Helmut stage 2. I'll skip the formation to show you the heroes as well as a spell selection, and I'll perform a manual run to explain to you how the team works, and followed by an auto run. These are the heroes that I'll be using to showcase speedrun for this Queen of Tides. I have Santis, Ghajar, Zatlux, and Gangelo. Zatlux is my primary damage dealer to clear the first two waves, and also deal some damage to the boss. Santis and Gangelo, on the other hand, will be there to apply poison to the boss so that the boss will receive a lot of damage, as poison deals damage based on their max health. Whereas for Ghajar, he'll be there to detonate those bombs that was placed by Santis and Gangelo. So you do not need to wait for the enemy to receive their turn, only then they will receive the poison damage. It will detonate those poison like a bomb. And for the spell selection, I'll be using Sundering Purgatory to reduce the enemy's defense so that Zatlux will be able to deal more damage to the first wave. And Last Breath is there to revive Santis so that she'll be able to use her ultimate ability once again so that there are more poison for Ghajar to detonate. So let's see this team in action. Alright, at the start of the battle, Gangelo will use the Sundering Purgatory to apply defense down to all of these enemies here. And I will disable Gangelo's ability so that he'll only use his basic ability Unstable Concussion to one of these big crab. And then Santis will use her ultimate ability Void Descent to apply one stack of poison to all of these enemies here. Then the third hero on the team will go, which is Ghajar. He'll use his Virulent Roar ultimate ability to detonate the poison on the big crab. Alright, so now as you notice, right, this big crab health has dropped from 36,000 to 10,673, which is quite low, enough for Zatlux to perform the finishing kill to wipe out these first two enemies, the mini crabs and the big crab, within the first round itself. The Fist of Carnage will automatically target the enemy that has the lowest health. So on the second round, Zatlux will be able to perform the finishing kill in case your heroes are not strong enough. Then as usual, Gangelo will use his basic, followed by this special. And if your Ghajar is strong enough, they'll be able to finish off the big crab to save some time, rather than Zatlux to finish off the big crab on the first round. The first wave. Then on the second wave, Gangelo will do the same thing, which is to apply one stack of poison to this big crab, followed by Santis, and then Ghajar will detonate the bomb here. So now as you notice, right, the big crab health is already 16,000, which is quite close to this mini crab. However, I wouldn't worry whether Zatlux will be able to finish off him, because Zatlux will receive an attack up buff, which is this one. No, I think it's straight here, Bloodthirst. So whenever Zatlux will perform at least one kill on the first hit, you'll gain this attack up buff, which makes it easy for him to clear off this second big crab here. And in order for your Zatlux to clear the mini crabs on the second wave easily, it needs to have a high amount of attack stats and critical damage stats. I'll later explain to you how much stats that you need to clear off that mini crabs in the second wave. So on the boss wave, Gangelo will perform its ability on the boss. The target priority for this wave will be to target the boss itself. So Gangelo will apply one stack of poison here, followed by Santis' ultimate. And then Ghajar will apply one stack of poison here, because his ultimate ability is still under cooldown. Alright, so I purposely made Santis' health low enough so that this boss will be able to wipe out Santis. The reason why I did this is because once Zatlux revive Santis with this Last Breath, it also resets all of the ability cooldowns, which makes it which allows Santis to use her ultimate ability on the next round. And you need to make Santis to be sufficiently tanky so that she'll be able to survive the right tideguard attack, as you notice here. The right tideguard will do at least around about 4,000 to 5,000 damage depending on how much defense you have. but it's safe to have her health around about not more than 10,000. Alright. Then Gangelo will apply 1 more stack of poison. Then Santis will increase the poison debuff duration. And then Ghajar will detonate all of this poison here. So that's how the speed run works. Alright, let's check out the battle result here. So the reason why Ghajar deals a lot of damage is because of the poison detonation. So Ghajar will be dealing the most damage because he explodes all those poison, followed by Zatlux because he clears all those waves, and then Santis, and then finally Gangelo. Here are the damage taken, followed by the healing dealt. Alright, so let me show you an auto run of this to see how fast it goes. Alright, as you notice, Gangelo ability is disabled. Santis will apply all of the poison stacks on each of the poison here. And then Zatlux will kill these 3 enemies. And then Ghajar will be finishing off this big crab by himself. You'll need to build Santis and Ghajar with high amount attack stats and critical rate and critical damage so that you'll make it easier for Ghajar to finish him off. To save some time rather than Zatlux finishing the big crab on the first wave. Alright, so moving on to wave 3 where the boss is located. Target priority will be to target the boss herself. Ghajar will then apply 1 more stack of poison. So now we have 4 stacks of poison here. The boss will wipe out Santis, but Zatlux will revive Santis here. You'll need to speed tune Zatlux to go after the boss. This is really important. So that the boss knock out Santis and then Zatlux will revive her here. So this is a 100% win rate. I've already tested this run about 100 times and it works flawlessly. So the shortest battle it took is around about 1 minute and 20 seconds, and if you include the waiting time, it's around about 1 minute and 25 seconds. So let me show you the hero stats and gear on how to get this team working, so that you have a reference point on how to build this team if you have all of these 4 heroes who are Gangelo, Ghajar, Santis, and Zatlux. Alright, so this is my Gangelo. He'll be the first to go in the team. So here are his total stats. He has around about 22,000 health, 1,400 defense, 218 speed, and 134% focus. So you only need to prioritize on only 4 stats on Gangelo, which is health, defense, speed, and focus. This stats is pretty high because I'm currently using Gangelo in the Wish of the Wind as well as the Gemini Dragon. However, you just need him to be sufficiently tanky. But the most important thing is he needs to go first in the team so that he'll apply 1 stack of poison, so that Santis will be able to apply 2 stacks of poison with your trait whenever there's an existing poison on the enemy. And it's recommended to have at least about 130% focus in case the boss applies that resistance up buff on herself. Alright, so let me show you the gear. So currently I'm gearing Gangelo in a revival set as well as a raider set. Actually, you do not need revival set and raiders revival set on him because he'll be able to tank at least 1 attack from the boss as well as the wave if you make him sufficiently tanky, because the battle in the first wave, right, is during the boss wave is pretty fast, so you do not need a revival set on him. However, if you couldn't get the speed, then I highly recommend you to gear him in a raider set. So the boss speed I think is around 155, so you need to speed tune him to be above 155 speed. Alright, so let me show you the gears. So this is the weapon with a triple roll on speed and critical rate. This is the helmet with a double roll on health, single roll on focus. This is the coat with triple roll on focus, health and agility here. This is a speed boot with some focus and defense. Critical damage is not useful for Gangelo because he's not an attacker hero. It's a debuffer hero that relies heavily on focus to apply the poison. And this is a health ring with some focus, speed, and some attack. Attack is also not useful for him because he's not an attacker hero. And finally, we have a health necklace with some speed, agility, focus. and some flat health. His glyphs and abilities are all maxed out here. Alright, so let's move on to the second hero in the team. So this is my Santis. She goes second in the team. So here are her total stats. So she has around about 1900 attack, close to 9000 health, close to 800 defense, 175 speed. She's speed tuned to go second in the team, 100% critical rate, close to 200% critical damage, and close to 130% focus. So in this Santis build, right, I'm building her for two roles, which are attacker and a debuffer. So if she's built as an attacker role, she'll need to have a high amount of critical rate, at least 100% critical rate, to make the run consistent. And then once you achieve this 100% critical rate, then you focus on the attack and critical damage. Her attack stats can't increase that much because she's only level 50, and that's the reason why I put her this way, because I want her to be squishy enough so that the boss will be able to defeat her when the boss performs the AoE attack wave. And you must not build her more than 10,000 health and more than 850 defense. Otherwise, right, she'll be able to tank the damage, and Zatlux will not be able to revive her after the boss defeats her with the last breath spell. This is really important. Alright, so let me show you the gears. So currently I'm gearing her in a warrior set and a raider set. Warrior set provides 15% attack and raider set provides 15 speed. So let me go through the equipment stats here. So this is the weapon with some speed, focus, health, and resistance. Resistance is not useful for her here. And this is the helmet with some critical rate, focus, and attack. And then we have a coat with some critical rate, critical damage, attack, and health. And this is an attack boots with some focus, critical rate, and speed. And this is a critical rate ring with some precision, focus, and speed. And finally, this is a focus necklace with some critical damage and critical rate. Alright. So another thing that I need to point out is her glyph. I highly recommend you not to max out her glyph because you do not want to get this glyphs that provides additional health as well as glyphs that provides additional defense, because this will spoil the run and prevent the boss from knocking out Santis. And that's a reason also why I only have her to level rank 5, because this will lower her health down as well. However, you can get the glyphs that provides additional critical damage and some attack stats, so that she'll be able to do some damage on the first wave, so that Ghajar, the third hero in the team, will be able to clear off the last crab. And you can get some focus and speed if you need additional speed in case your gears could not provide additional speed from there. So these abilities are all maxed out, as you can see here. Alright, so let me move on to the third hero in the team. So Ghajar is the third hero that goes third in the team. So here are his total stats. It's built similarly to Santis, which is a high amount of focus, critical rate, critical damage, and attack. You do not need to really care about the health and defense, because he'll be able to survive against the enemy attack since he's a good affinity hero. He'll have a higher chance to deflect those attacks from the water affinity hero. And he's speed tuned to go third in the team. Alright, so let's check out his gears. Currently I'm gearing him in double warrior set to provide additional 30% attack. So let's go through each of these equipment here. So this is the weapon with some critical damage, focus, and attack. This is the helmet with some attack and critical rate and flat attack. This is the helmet, armor with some critical damage, focus, and attack. This is an attack boots with some focus, critical rate, and critical damage. This is a critical rate ring with some speed, attack, and health and defense. And finally, this is an attack necklace with some focus, critical rate, speed, and agility. His glyphs and abilities are all maxed out. Alright, so let's move on to the fourth and final hero in the team, who is Zatlux. Alright, so this is my Zatlux. He's the fourth hero to go last in the team. So here are his total stats. He has close to 5,800 attack, 70% critical rate, because the additional 30% critical rate is obtained from his passive skill, and 298% critical damage. and his speed tune to go after the boss, which is below 155 speed, and he just need above 137 speed. The minimum speed for Zatlux will be 138 and I think below 155, so that he'll be able to go first in the first 2 waves, as well as to go after the boss, but not and before the left and right tideguard. So this is really important. Okay, and then let me show you the gears. Currently I'm gearing him in 2 warrior set to provide additional 30% attack. So let's go through each of the equipment so you get a reference point here. So this is the weapon with a single roll on speed, quadruple upgrade on the attack, some critical damage and health. This is the helmet with some attack, critical damage, health and critical rate. This is the armor, the chest plate with some attack, critical damage, critical rate. Resistance is not useful for him here. This is the attack boost with some critical rate and critical damage. This is a critical damage ring with some attack, critical rate. And finally, we have attack necklace that has some critical rate and critical damage. Zatlux is the hardest to build because he needs to achieve a very high amount of attack stats and critical damage. The minimum amount of attack and critical damage can be determined by multiplying these 2 values to obtain the output of 1.7 million. Alright, so as you can see here, I have my calculator here to explain to you how the multiplication works. So currently I have Zatlux at 5792 attack. So I key in this value and multiply it by the critical damage, which is 298. So this gives you an overall damage output of 1.7 million damage. You need to hit this minimum requirement in order to be able to comfortably defeat those 3 mini crabs in the second wave. This is really important. You can have a lower attack stats than mine, but higher critical damage to compensate the lack of attack in order to reach this 1.7 million damage output. So let's say if you have maybe like 5500 attack and maybe 330% critical damage, then you meet the requirement of that 1.7 million. So let's say if I have 5500 times 300 critical damage is a 1.65 million damage, which is not sufficient to clear the mini crabs on the second wave. And if you're not able to get sufficient attack from your gears, you can use the elemental power to increase the attack stats on your Zatlux. So let me show you the elemental power there. Alright, so we are now in the elemental power window, and as you notice here, I've already selected the wood attack stats, and this is the attack stats that you need to upgrade in order to reach a high amount of attack stats on Zatlux. So if you are not able to get high amount of attack stats through the gear, you need to spend some resources, this called TX materials, to upgrade your wood attack stats high enough so that Zatlux will be able to perform the finishing kill on the second wave of these mini crabs. And this one will take some time to do because it requires a high amount of materials, and these materials can be found by performing the 3 vs 3 arena daily. This is one of the tips if you are not able to be lucky to get multiple rolls on attack and critical damage on your equipment. To summarize the hero setup, I have prepared a screenshot that displays the gear sets as well as the stats of each hero in my team as a reference point to build this team. So the most important thing is to have these heroes to go in a certain order, where Gangelo need to be speed tuned to go first, followed by Santis, Ghajar and Zatlux. Your debuffed heroes, who are Gangelo, Santis and Ghajar, require at least 100% focus to apply the poison, and then Santis will need to be built very squishy so that the boss will be able to defeat her in her first AoE nuke. She must not have more than 10,000 health and must not have more than 850 defense stats, otherwise right, she'll be able to survive the nuke and Zatlux will not be able to revive her with the last breath spell. Santis and Ghajar will need to be built with an attacker role and a debuffer role so that they'll be able to deal some damage to the big crabs, so that Zatlux will not need to spend an additional turn to finish off the crab, whereas Ghajar will be able to finish it for him. And last but not least, Zatlux will need to be built as high amount of attack stats and critical damage after you achieve the minimum speed of 138 and above, and below 155 speed, and just a minimum of 70% critical rate, so that you'll be able to meet the minimum threshold of the damage output that is required to finish off the mini crabs in the second wave. So this is the battle results after running this team for 10 times. The shortest battle duration would be 1 minute and 16 seconds, and if you take account of the waiting time for each run, the average battle duration will become 1 minute and 25 seconds, which gives you a total duration of 14 minutes and 10 seconds, and this means that you can farm at least about 40 runs per hour. Alright, so that's the end of my video. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, and if you found this video helpful and enjoyable, do give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions on how to set up this team, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and go check out my previous videos on how to build a Queen of Tides team based on your account progression from early game, mid game to late game. Also, if you'd like to support me, you can also donate to my PayPal account, or you can become a patron at my Patreon site at patreon.com/Ayumilove. And if you'd like to learn more about Awaken Chaos Era, do visit my website at ayumilove.net. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!